Yo guys, what's going on? It's Aces here today with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys what to look for when purchasing weapons in Escape from Tarkov Flea Market. So I've done a video like this in the past, very similar, where what we do is we look for weapons in the Tarkov Flea Market that have attachments that we might want to use. We buy the weapon, steal the attachment, and then sell the weapon to mechanic. It's going to be similar here today, but I'm going to be doing more of an in-depth guide specifically on the weapons and the weapon attachments. This is more or less to help out some of those beginner players, newer players to the flea market, and just players who have been asking exactly what I'm doing when I make these money-making videos in the flea market. So, as always, make sure you leave a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of you have been asking for the Learning Reserve series. I did have a couple episodes recorded already, but I personally didn't like how it turned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the format to one single raid per video, and I think we're going to upload one maybe every 3 days. That way, it's just not a spam load of content, but at the same time, you're still getting that content that you wanted. I think it's just the best way to do it for me personally, just with how the informational content has to go out every single day, and I want to still give you guys other raids and stuff. So I think that's just the best way for now to give you guys the Learning Reserve series. And then also, I had an idea. So we used to have a series called 0 to Millions here on the channel. I don't really want to do that again. But I was thinking, what if we did like a fence-only challenge on one of the standard accounts? If that sounds interesting, also let me know in the comments. It actually sounds pretty exciting for me, selling everything to fence for really shitty prices and then having to pay 2x for it. I feel like that would be pretty challenging. So let me know if you're interested. If you're not, I won't even bother. But like I said, Learning Reserve is still coming and maybe a fence series. So let's hop into it. What are we doing here today? Well, we are going into the weapons tab in the flea market, which is right here. And what we're going to do is focus on weapon categories, look for really cheap weapons with certain attachments. But first, I have to show you what to look for so you know what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use an example of a really expensive weapon that already has attachments on it. We're not going to buy it, but this is to show you what to look for. So a great way to do this is just go right to the M4 and then scroll to the very bottom, or you can just filter your price by highest, which we're going to do. All right, guys, so here's the M4 section on the really expensive side of things. We have a couple interesting builds here, but at the end of the day, we're going to be focusing on two M4s. We have an M4A1 Standard, and we have an M4A1 Space Trooper. Now, there's not much of a price difference between this guy right here and this guy right here, but what is different is how they look in this preview box and the actual attachments that are on the M4A1. So this one is a really standard M4, even without the magazine. This is probably worth 40K. But this guy is worth a good bit. Might not be worth 780,000, but probably well worth over 500,000 rubles. And the reason for it is you have a Reaper IR thermal sight, you have a Hera Arms foregrip, a Hera Arms stock, a 60-round PMAG, a short barrel LVOA. So you have a lot of cool stuff on that M4, but what am I trying to prove to you? Well, what you need to focus on is the image screen for the little preview box that you get when you're purchasing an item in the flea market. So right here, you can see this M4 looks kind of ass, but this one looks like it's juiced up, you know? You can't really see it in depth unless you click on it, but at the end of the day, you can see it. There's definitely some sort of variance there when it comes to the preview image. That's what we're focusing on today. So we want to make sure our price is filtered by the lowest, and here's a great example. This M4 is the lowest right here, and you can see it's completely different than this M4A1 right here. I mean, these look way different. You have a different pistol grip, a different handguard. I mean, you got a lot of different stuff on there. So that's what we're going to be looking for, but you have to know some of your prices and you have to know what to buy. So it does come with a bit of experience. Once you start to learn prices of everything, what attachments come on what weapons, there is a bit of in-depth to this method. However, if you get proficient in it, you're going to make a ton of money in the Escape from Tarkov flea market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through all these sections here. We're going to try and find a weapon that I think is worth buying. I'm probably going to quick snipe it, so you might not see it for too long, but we could either slow it down or I can take you through it once we're in our stash and our inventory. So we're looking here. Here's a great example right away. On this, we have a B10 and we have a 40-round magazine for 12,000 rubles. Let's go ahead and purchase that, right? So let me show you here. We have this magazine, which is actually going to fetch us a little bit of coin extra. But the main thing here is this B10. So this is an originally 23,000 ruble attachment if you would actually have this found in raid and go to sell it. But if you wanted to purchase this from Skier, it would be 15,000 rubles. Keep in mind, we just paid 12,000 for everything. And we have one attachment which Skier is selling for at a premium of what we paid for it. So let me show you how this works. All right, so we have the magazine with 32 rounds of tracer ammunition. We have the pistol grip, we have the gas block, we have the handguard, and we have the weapon itself. Unfortunately, we cannot sell this all in one package to mechanic because of the weapon's durability. So we are going to have to sell it to fence, and that's where we're going to start. We're going to go to fence, and we're going to sell him this weapon and only the weapon. That's going to be 4,578 rubles. We'll call it 4,600. Next, we are going to go to mechanic, and we are going to sell everything else that we got. You can see this handguard isn't worth as much as what Skier is selling it for, but it's still worth a pretty penny. So we're going to sell this for 10,400 rubles. So what does that come out to? About 15,000 rubles. Yes, it's the same exact price as the handguard alone. However, we just made 3,000 rubles. If you wanted to use that handguard, though, you could keep that handguard, have it at a lot cheaper of a price, sell everything else to mechanic, and then have it for even cheaper. So it goes both ways. It can either make you money or it can save you money, and that's the beauty of doing this. This is one example in a plethora of different weapons that have plenty of different attachments on just the entire flea market. I mean, there are so many deals out here, you guys wouldn't even believe it. Once again, same exact thing. Here's another B10 for 10,000 rubles. Originally, it cost 15,000 rubles from Skier. This one probably isn't worth buying. The handguard itself is probably worth 7,000. I mean, this one might be worth buying if we want to try it out. I guess we could, just for the sake of the video. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to split up the cost because of the durability. All right, so once again, this looks exactly the same. We're going to do the exact same thing. Fence first. This one's probably going to sell for less. It's lower durability. 4,000 rubles. Okay. I think we will still make some profit on this. And then selling everything else, we're going to be at almost 10K. So we probably made about 3,500 rubles on that one as well. So definitely not bad. That's two examples on one attachment. We have so many other categories with so many other things. You have a pretty decent looking AK here. I don't know if it'd be worth paying for it, but here's a good one. All right, so here's the AK we just picked up for about 14K. I'm not sure if we're going to actually make money on this, but the durability is really solid, and we have a Gen M3 mag, and we have a saw pistol grip. So really, already attachment-wise, we did pretty well. To show you what a Gen M3 is going for, it's about 8,000 on the resale market. I think 27 USD comes out to about 4K, and then you have the saw pistol grip, which isn't that great, but it's about 10 to 12K. Once again, 45 on the USD, so I think that is going to come out to like 5, 6K right there. So about 10,000 in attachments right off the bat. Going to mechanic to see if we would actually just profit from this straight up. We would, about 5,000 rubles. I think we're going to lock that in right there. 5,000 rubles profit sounds good to me. And all we did, let me go back before I sell and show you exactly the comparison I did. All right, so comparing that 74U that we just purchased for about the same price as this one right here. I think we purchased ours for like 14,000. This one's 13,000. This one is completely different though. This one does not have any sight mount. This one has a completely different magazine. This is one of the cheaper magazines. Seeing that PMag or the Gen M3 mag is a good sign. You can see the pistol grip is really plain looking, and those are your main giveaways right away. I mean, it's super obvious to see those in the preview image. This one will have a little bit of an extra bonus. When you have these 100 durability 74Us, they actually spawn with 30 rounds of BP. That does jack up the price a little bit, but at the end of the day, it still really doesn't matter. This is relatively a shitty 74U compared to the one we just bought, which looks like... You guys already saw it, but I just want to make sure this is fully transparent for everybody. Looks like this. You can see the magazine is all black. You have a black pistol grip or a gray pistol grip. So that one's going to be worth a decent bit more, and that's why we're going to lock in 5,000 rubles of pure profit right there. All right, so here we are back on the flea market. And you might be thinking, well, what about this all-black AK right here? Is this a lot better than a regular AK itself? Now, this is a 105, so it is going to be a little bit more different. You can do a little bit more customization with an AK 105, but other than that, it's relatively the same as all the other AK platforms. You just have to know the information behind the name and what some of the silhouettes look like when they just start out, when they get looted or taken from a scav, etc. So, in this case, this AK that looks completely different is not worth any more than the AK right above it, except for the fact that the one below it has a magazine. Really, they're pretty much identical. And the pistol grips, just because this one is gray and this one is like a maroon or whatever you want to call this, a red, we'll just call it a red, they're actually identical. I mean, they're pretty much exactly the same with a little bit of variance in their name. This one's a 6P4 SB9, and this one's a 6P1 SB8. They're almost identical. So when it comes to that, you know, it's just something you have to learn. Once you learn it, you won't make the mistake again if you would make that mistake. But let's just head into bolt actions for a second. Bolt actions are, there's a great example. Here's another example. Okay, guys, over on the bolt action market, what are you doing? I was not expecting that. That never goes that well. But I'll take it. So we just got 2 TAC 30 scopes on 2 M700s. That's actually incredible to me that we just locked in both of these. I mean, these TAC 40s, or TAC 30s, excuse me, are pretty much a 20K scope, and you still have the mount, and you still have the magazine. You have a lot of things you can do with this, but the TAC 30 is a phenomenal sight, if I got to be honest with you. And seeing 2 of them like that back to back is pretty crazy. So we paid what? 23,000, 24,000, we'll just call it 25K each. All right, so now we have both these TAC 30 scopes, which I just showed you, are worth like 30,000. There's that 20,000, like I was saying. The market starts to, you know, go through the fluctuations, but, you know, 20 to 30K, it's a good price range. We paid 25 each, so we're going to keep both these TAC 30 sights. I love this scope personally, so this is fine by me. And we're going to break down these M700s. This one right here would probably sell, but I'm going to break it down fully just to show you guys every bit and piece of this process so you guys don't get confused at all. But we are breaking this M700 down as well. We're going to sell all these attachments. So all we really need to do is at least get 50K back. If we can get near 50K, then we are solid. I don't know if we're going to get that, but that's the goal. So we're going to go to mechanic, and we are going to sell all these attachments right here. So we could sell one, but we have to sell the other one to fence. So 46,000 right here. 46,000 rubles. We're going to go to fence. We're going to lock this one in for 3,500. So that's 50K right there. We just got all our money back. Now we have 2 TAC 30 sights. Literally 2 TAC 30 scopes for free. That is the concept of this. And that's with, we did it for an AK. We did it for whatever weapon we did first twice. I think it was like a VPO, just like the single shot AKs. And now we did it for some M700s. I mean, there is so much potential for every single weapon that scavs spawn in with in the Escape from Tarkov flea market. I mean, it is just so plentiful out here how many different deals there are in getting you free attachments. You literally never have to buy attachments if you know what you're looking for. But that's pretty much it for the weapons in the flea market, man. This has been more of an in-depth guide for me. If you want to see more in-depth stuff like this, let me know. I primarily focus on kind of like a general sense of making money here on the channel. Obviously, we have the Rap Money series, which is super in-depth on one item, but overall, sometimes I just fly through the flea market, make a bunch of money, and that's the video. But if you guys want more in-depth stuff like this, just let me know in the comments. If you have any other content suggestions, anything like that, drop them in the comments as well. But as always, make sure to leave that like, subscribe for new sponsors and equipment in the description below. That's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm out.